Hello everyone and welcome to another video. It's your girl, Scarlett, and I'm back for another video. However, today's video is a little different. It's another talk with me video. I don't exactly make a lot of these because I don't think I'm, let's say, eloquent enough in my words. So I normally have to type up a script just so I could get my thoughts together in order. So, if you've seen the thumbnail of this video, then you know very well what today's topic is going to be about, and that topic is Caleb, the Caleb theory. So, I've played the new chapters, like the ones that come after the branch chapters in the game, and wow. Which is why I've decided to finally get this video done. What video ask? Well, this one. It's the, I think Caleb could be the villain video. Now, I've actually been working on making a video about Caleb, and I'm thinking it should be very close to the time we are about to meet our beloved Gaga once again. Even though, take note, I was working on this script since September, and there were way too many things going on that it almost became impossible for me to work on this video until now. At the time, there were news floating around in the lads community about the possibility of there being 6 love interests. So with 6 love interests, that means right after Silas, there would be 2 more new love interests for our MC. Now, keep in mind this rumor was purely speculation and it just became a popular topic at the time. And as a result, the idea of this video was born. But before I go any further, a little disclaimer. This video is purely for discussion purposes only. Most of the stuff I'll be talking about are theories and ideas, so please do not take it seriously or consider it as solid proof or even confirmed information. It's also very possible none of the stuff I share with you today is new for you, so there's that. With that out of the way, let's dive into my thoughts and theories regarding MC's beloved Gaga, Caleb. For the sake of the video, and for those who probably need a refresher on Caleb, he is MC's adoptive brother / childhood friend. Yes, we are tiptoeing on that line. MC and Caleb were both taken in by grandma, and therefore I think it's fairly speculated that the two have been raised together. From the story in game, we learned that he works from the Deepspace Aviation Administration in Skyhaven, and that is an artificial floating island that hovers near Lincoln City. Yes, taken directly from the game info itself. By the way, if you haven't gone through the story, then I highly advise you to click away. Click away. Just click away. Do it now, lest you be spoiled. Did you do it? Okay, are we safe? Are they gone? All right. Right, so with that out of the way, let's start with talking about Caleb's role. So Caleb, also known as Xiayijo, as mentioned before, is our Gaga, which is an honorific you call your older brother, but it is also used to address a close male friend who is older than you, and can even be used in romantic relationships by attaching the shortened term to a name. Now, in English, however, the game marked him as our childhood friend. Now, there's a lot of discussion about the English version calling Caleb our childhood friend. It sort of downplays the delicateness of the relationship he has with MC, since it is mentioned that MC's grandmother took both Caleb and her in. It's fair to believe that grandma raised them both together under one roof. Unless, of course, there's something in the story that we don't know yet. Now, the reason why I say this is because MC even mentions how he cooks her favorite dish, and Caleb himself says, "Leave the family matters to me," you know?
若いのに心配性だな。兄ちゃんも頼れよ。俺が静かな病室を申し込んでおいた。だから心配するな。
So merely calling him MC's childhood friend seems a bit dismissive. But considering how the devs have mentioned Caleb's return, it's very likely he returns as a possible love interest, and by reducing his role in her life as a very close childhood friend, that would probably help the Western audience be more comfortable with his role in her life prior to all the kabooms. But what about the Chinese version? The source material, the OG. Now, whilst there is a very prominent trope in otome games where the brother figure have no blood relation with MC, mind you, although there are games where they are. I'm serious, there are. It's a very prominent trope in otome games with the brother figure becoming the potential love interest, and I feel like it might even lead to something even more. Now, before we can talk about Caleb's potential as a love interest, we first need to think about how he survived. Well, now with the release of the branch stories and the heavy emphasis of a modified wanderer with the ability to distort and displace reality and space, what if that's the key to Caleb's survival? We now know there are tiny gadgets that can lure wanderers to a location, jam the flux stabilizers, as well as a machine that can create a pocket space similar to a proto-field based on people's nightmares and memories. So then what if this whole spatial displacement is used on Caleb, or maybe Caleb used this technology during the explosion? I mean, to be fair, on the news, in-game, all they mentioned was that there were 2 casualties. They never mentioned the recovery of their bodies. But then I don't know if that's a normal thing that would happen in news. But I feel like, they actually never mentioned the recovery of their bodies or what happened afterward. We don't know if MC has cremated them, buried them, held a funeral. We don't know. All we know is MC dove herself into work, got herself busy. So the status of the remains is currently unknown. So for all we know, they actually never recovered any remains. Not to mention, in the recent chapters, the ones after the branch story, Jenna mentions we have new information regarding MC's family and the explosion. So we don't really know what yet. And that really annoyed me because I was really looking forward to it. But I wouldn't be surprised if it's related to the absence of a body, or, that's just my opinion, my theory. Don't take it as fact. Now, put that together with the message from the devs saying we will see Caleb again in the future. Fans are absolutely confident that Caleb survived the explosion, which lead us to the next part of this video. Are they the real enemies to lovers route in Love and Deepspace? So here's this thing. What if Caleb is the real enemies to lovers route? Mixed in with some tragic gaga I used to know thrown in the mix, It's no secret that in some otome games, hidden routes are the ones where you romance the antagonist of the game and discover his tragic past that has led him down this path that he has chosen. Right? I mean, it's there. So then what if that's Caleb's upcoming role in Love and Deepspace? But due to the shocking events in Chapter 4, in which our beloved Gaga's representative emoji went from an apple to an explosion. Oh gosh, that was mean, I'm sorry. At the time, as the game was still brand new, fans have been crying over the lost opportunity of romancing such a caring and good-looking character. Understandably so, because at that point of the story, if you think about it, Caleb is arguably the only one out of the 4 men in MC's life to be openly sweet and kind to her from the beginning, whilst the others were still warming up to MC as well as prepping for some hidden agendas that we did not and kind of still do not know anything about. However, I start to wonder about MC herself and how she feels about Caleb. Just thinking about how she grew up, no family except grandma and Caleb, it wouldn't be so far-fetched to believe that MC thinks of Caleb as family. Or not, since we still don't have enough information about how their childhood was spent together. So then how would Caleb be able to overcome that hurdle? Well, easy. He becomes an absolute villain and destroys every semblance of familial/friendly ties he's ever had with MC. Of course, I don't mean he does this for the main purpose of pursuing her. Oh gosh, no. But just as a convenient plot point that allows Caleb to be another love interest in this otome game. But then why a villain? Now, if you've been in the lads community since the game's release, or even before, it's possible you're familiar with the theory that Caleb might be a villain or antagonist in the story already. It's also possible that you haven't, so yay, you won't be so bored with this video. By the way, I'll do my best to link all the resources I mentioned in this video, so if you'd like to check it out for yourself, please find them in the description. The reason I feel this theory holds weight, the theory of Caleb being a villain, this is mostly due to some of the clips I watched before the game officially launched. Now, if you're familiar with what happened during the beta testing of the game, you'll notice that some parts of the story is actually different. And to go through the differences, I have an old Reddit post here to help me better explain this theory. Alright, so there's a bit of a text box like below me, you know, conveniently covering the bosoms. Those are the texts that I'm focusing on, and yeah, I just figured it would be easier for you guys to read if I did that. I apologize if it's not. So this page is quite old, and if you'd like to read it yourself, feel free. I'll add the link in the description. However, before I do go over this post, I'd like to say I don't agree with everything mentioned here, but there are parts that I find are plausible and fits my idea as to why Caleb is a potential antagonist. And to start off, there are some story points in the beta version we need to be aware of. And this post did very nicely put them together, so let's go through it. As it said over here, there are moments in the story that we had in the official version, but in the old version happens much earlier. So the pacing of the game during the beta version is actually very different. And there is a deleted scene where the MC finds a pin with a red gem. Guesses on who? With the symbol of a raven on the ground. And this is before Caleb finds us again in chapter 4. So during that time where they went out to do a little shopping by going in the house, he followed her out during that little that hunter alert, right? That's what it was, the hunter's alert. It was during that time, and she actually picked up a pin in that scene, which is very interesting. Now, the most shocking information, as noted here, is what Grandma left us before she died. And that was a letter, which is something that I will be showing you right here. This is a letter that Grandma wrote before the explosion, and it was given to her after the whole shebang. That is so rude. Sorry. But yes, this was given to her. And let's just read through it first. In the letter, it says, "After I'm gone, the police will say this incident was an accident." So just like in the game currently, they pin down the explosion to just some sort of Metaflex explosion. There is a location marked on the map inside the letter. "I left something there for you, the ether core," is what it's saying. Everyone's rushing to try and get the ether core, but they don't know that it's the source of disaster. So this is something that rings true to what Xavier says. It's power that comes from the cosmos of the universe, and I did think like that means it supports the entire universe in a way. Like thinking Infinity Stones level kind of thing. But seeing as how Xavier has given us similar information, I have to say that Grandma has to be telling the truth in this letter, which is why it kind of marks it as a little bit fishy why she left this message for MC and not Caleb. So there's speculation as to why this letter was only left for her. Grandma must have known that Caleb would not be with her after the explosion. So then that leads to the idea that maybe Grandma knew Caleb was targeting her. Now, in the letter she says, "You must find the ether core quickly and destroy it." And you can see like, oh, poor MC crying. "Grandma, how does she know about the ether core? Plus she wants me to destroy it." The vagrant explosion, so that's the wanderer. Back then, because of Lao Long, right? Lao Long means to wander, actually in Chinese. And in English, it got translated to vagrant. But it means the wanderer explosion case was also not an accident. Who could have done such a thing? She says as she looks at their family photo. So now in the letter, she has given MC some coordinates and it would take her into the forest. And that's where you first meet Xavier. Basically that scene in chapter 3, the one where he's in the no hunt zone, you sort of go to that scene. Like it's a little different, but it's pretty much that scene. Now over there, if you remember, you do find a yellow/golden, I guess gold protocore. But in the older version, what you find instead is a black tablet with the incomplete ether core. And that ether core was a valuable earring made from a blue Lemurian teardrop. There. So this is the tablet with the blue Lemurian teardrop. Now, I don't know if you noticed, but this black tablet looks very similar to the tablet that Grandma left MC in the current version. And inside it held like the research letters and research documents, right? The research documents. Now, if we're going through the pictures, you'll see that Xavier says that the other one has been taken away. So it's supposed to be a set of earrings, but one is taken away. There many years ago, someone came here, killed the wanderer. This wanderer is that's the name of the dragon, the Worm Lord Wanderer. Crap, I can't remember the name. Basically slayed that gigantic wanderer. Remember they said it was like sort of a chaotic, a really strong wanderer. So whoever killed that wanderer must be hella strong. Which makes you wonder about Caleb's capabilities. And after killing the dragon, took one of the earrings. So it does leave you to wonder why they didn't take both, and it wasn't exactly clear. But it almost feels like a clue that Caleb wanted to leave. Now, I'm saying Caleb, and there's a reason why I'm saying Caleb. And in order for you to understand why, I'm going to need to show you a clip, and I have to say it was really hard to find this clip. TikTok is sort of banned in my country, in Hong Kong. But yet the only clip I could find was a TikTok video. So I had to really jump hurdles just to be able to download this video and show it to you. So just give me a moment. Okay, here we go. I apologize again for this setup. It's really hard figuring out how to fit this in one screen, so I had to split it. On this side, right here, if only I had movable limbs to show you. I'm gonna just use my horn here. This side. This side, it's a close-up to the upper part of the video. And on this side, you'll see like maybe the mid part of the full video because it's a really long video, as in like long. So I'm going to start playing it, and it is 7 minutes long. I will play it once and stop a few times. So if you'd like, feel free to like skip or go down into description to watch the video on your own. Check my descriptions for the link to the video. Mind you, it is a TikTok link, so if you have no access to TikTok in your country, then you're sort of out of luck. You'll have to watch this video, unfortunately. But yeah, it's up to you. Alright, so I'm gonna start the video now.
尽快找到另一只，也不知道是什么时候丢的，找了这么多天，还是一头雾水。全市最后一家古董店就在前面了，上天保佑，就给我一丝线索就行。
Mind you, the translation is very direct translation. It's not entirely accurate, but the main details are there, so nothing too bad. Unfortunately, this is the best I could find. Sorry, the video is so loud. I hope I can adjust that later. Do you remember who that is? That's right. So Raphael does seem to play a very more prominent role in the main story.
请问，你有见过一个差不多的耳环吗？
哦，见过，见过。
In case anyone's lost, in order to find the clues to the explosion that caused her family's death, MC is following the clues to locate the ether core, hoping to learn more about what happened. So since she found half the earring, she's trying to find the other half. And she went to this antique store and asked the shopkeeper to see if he's seen it before.
真的吗？在哪里？
嘿，年纪大了，记性不大好了。让我找找记录。
啊，没关系，您慢慢找，等您。
这里就是离空室著名的白沙湾港。传说在数千年前，这片海中居住着神秘的利莫里亚人，
Moria Lemuria.
也就是我们常说的。传说利莫里亚人的眼泪会变成泪滴形状的钻石，在阳光下发出蓝色的。
这么说来，这只耳环的形状也很像泪滴呢。
所以后来有。
Okay, so the thing is, the dialogue, I wish they added a full stop. So later there were despicable humans for their own self-interest. That part is what Raphael is saying. The first part is what MC is saying. I don't know why it wasn't divided, but anyway.
有卑劣的人类为了一己私利，就故意欺骗利莫里亚人的感情，把泪水做成价值连城的宝贝。
It turns out this is how, in the beta version of the game, this is where we first meet Raphael.
每一颗都美不胜收，可你这颗
But this one,
却这么简陋，可见价值不高。
没请你鉴宝，还给我。
这只耳环是你的？
okay. He's basically saying the value of this earring is bad, and then she was like, "No one asked you, give it back." And then he was like, "This is yours?"
不然是你的。
And he's like, "Could it be yours then?" She's basically challenging him.
有没有兴趣做个交易，把它卖给我？
可你刚刚还嫌它简陋。
仔细一看，你这耳环在这群华丽的老古董中间，还有种返璞归真的美。不过在你手上，就只能暴殄天物了。
He's using an idiom, but 暴殄天物. How do I 暴殄天物? How do I? This first two characters is like recklessly waste, I guess. 天物天物 is natural resources. So basically, he's saying in your hands, it's a waste of a precious item. I mean, I'm saying it very crudely, but yeah, basically, down the line, he's saying, in your hands, it's only going to be a waste. Right? Which isn't exactly a nice thing to say to someone who you first met.
抱歉，那我也不会把它卖掉的。
好吧，反正它早晚都会属于我。
Oh, okay.
真是个奇怪的人。
姑娘啊，你来看看，是不是这只？
So then now she's looking for the records on who sold the item. Or who sold the earring that she's looking for, sorry. The other half of the earring.
谢谢您，但我找的不是这个。这个宝石和耳环的好像。爷爷，这只戒指您是从哪里买来的？
还真忘了，我找找记录。我说这个年纪大了，腿脚
我的耳环不见了。
反应。
好吧，反正它早晚都会属于我。
Yeah, so in this case, MC thought that Raphael stole the earrings that she had.
是他。
真是不服了。
爷爷，刚才离开的那位客人，您认识吗？
Oh, that was, basically she said, grandfather, do you know who that young man, that customer, who he was?
哦，你说奇遇啊？
I don't know why they have Chiyu as an adventure, but okay. He was like, oh, you mean Chiyu? Chiyu is Homura. Wait, no, not Homura. Raphael. My goodness, why did I forget his English name? Chiyu is Raphael's Chinese name. And he says that he is a regular here. At least that's what the Chinese is saying.
他可是我这里
Oh, there
的
you
常
go.
客了。看见海里的那栋大房子了吗？他就住在那儿。
Damn.
谢谢你。
Okay, this part, watch closely.
怎么这么多灰尘呢？哦，找到了，就是这个。神呐！现在的年轻人呢？
Okay, so you notice that the gem used to design this ring is very similar to the gem in the earring.
就是新子期。
And here we go. Look at that. That says Xia Yi Zhou. That's Caleb's name, which indicates Caleb had the other earring, which indicates he's the one that killed that extremely strong wanderer. And why did Grandma give the coordinates to find it? It seems that Caleb is preventing MC from destroying the ether core. And we're assuming the ether core is, that pair of earrings. It might be that it has to be together to be complete. And he's taken one away to prevent MC from destroying it. Now, for what reason? We still don't know yet. But considering how this game is going, if Caleb is to be the potential fifth love interest, it's probably because he's afraid something might happen to her if it gets destroyed. I don't know. It's probably in her favor. We don't know yet, but yes. It comes down to us thinking, did Caleb create the explosion? Because it seems like Grandma wants MC to do something that might harm MC. Did Caleb cause the explosion because his cover was about to be blown? But it does make us question why Grandma never mentions Caleb in the letter that she left behind. Alright, this letter, she never mentioned him once. Not even once. This is the whole letter. I'm looking through it and it's not a lack of translation. This is something only your evil can do. She doesn't mention him, not even once. So after all that, I'm starting to lean towards the possibility of Caleb playing a major role as the antagonist of Love and Deepspace, potentially having huge ties to Ever, whether as a double agent or for whatever unknown agenda he has. One of the reasons I feel like he has ties to Ever is because of where he works. Now, we know that he works as a fighter pilot for the Deepspace Aviation Administration. I imagine his telekinesis evol could prove to be super helpful as a fighter pilot. But why would that make him someone tied to Ever? Well, the fact that he works to keep an eye on the deep space tunnel is already a huge clue. Let's take a look at Ever's in-game description first. Okay, so it says here, with its roots in biotechnology, Ever Group has become a large company in industries such as biotech, aerospace, evil energy, and international trade. Not to mention, this company is such a huge company, it already ate up Xander Sciences, and the very newly founded radio frequency chip is also developed by Ever. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if the DAA is funded or even founded by the Ever Group. If that's not enough, remember those iRobots?
今晚你会是猎手，还是猎物？赤日再次降临，
他是冲我来的。
一起迎接新一轮的。
I think during the earlier months of the game release, a lot of people speculated these were drones sent by Onakainis, but I think now it's quite safe to say that these iRobots are sent by Ever. I mean, think about it. Let's take a look at Otto. That's right, this tiny cute robot who we've grown so fond of during the solo banner events. This Otto. It's already known that the Ever Group creates prototypes of one thing and then creates variations of it. Take the tiny chip-like gadget that's able to scramble flux stabilizers and attract wanderers that was first introduced to us in Zane's branch myth. We now know Ever Group is selling a variation of the device, allowing it to act like a portable flux stabilizer to prevent wanderers from appearing, then introducing it to the public to increase its public image. Now, Otto seems to be a variation of those eyeball drones. Just look at its design. It's just a much more cute and public-friendly machine. Its design is very similar to that eye drone that keeps following us around. Literally all it has on him that makes it different from the eye drone is a pair of headphones and some cute bunny ears. Other than that, it honestly looks identical. So if the theory that Caleb uses the technology that modified a wanderer to distort space sticks true, then it would connect him to Ever for sure. Especially since Ever has had their eyes on MC since, well, forever. And it's possible the whole reason Caleb is working for them is because of MC. I mean, knowing how this game is going. I mean, if he is going to be a potential love interest, then obviously it's going to be for MC. But I don't know why. It just feels like maybe a hint about Caleb's character as a love interest in the future, but I don't know why, but this scene where Caleb was like,
难道长大了，反而不信任我了？
除了奶奶，我也不想让你担心呢。你好不容易才回来一次，我不想扫兴。而且长大了，不就该自己保护自己了吗？总不能一辈子被你罩着吧？
有什么不能的？我不罩着你，难道还要别的人来？
干嘛？怎么不说了？
说了你也不懂，忘了吧。
yeah, it really shows just how guilty he feels about his future actions. And then there's also the biggest clue about Caleb lying to MC, coming from Silas himself, where he mentions...
家族最も親しい者こそがお前の死を望んでいる。黙れ
Yeah, that one. It's very possible he is aware of Caleb's whereabouts and motivations. Keep in mind that all this time, Silas has been watching over MC, as shown in this scene, where you can see Mephisto is always closely watching. Yet he has never shown himself until MC sought him out by marking herself as bait. He was even considered missing to the people of the N109 zone until MC showed up a bit, and we still don't really know why, nor has he ever mentioned it, actually. Could there be some sort of cat and mouse going on between Silas and Caleb? Seeing as how Onekainis heavily dabbled in the black market for protocores, could Onekainis and Ever have some sort of similar goal until something happened that put the two at odds with each other? We don't know, but I feel it's highly possible. Not to mention, there's still the whole thing where there's a theory that the Hunters Association was founded by the Backtrackers and the Ever group might be an extension of that. And after stuff happens, they decided to split because they see things differently. I'm guessing, the Backtrackers wanting MC to replace Queen MC in order to power Philos, and then Xavier cutting ties with them. That's that whole thing. Hey guys, future editing Scarlet here. I realized there's a point that I forgot to mention why I think Onekainis, Ever, and the Hunter Association used to be working together. It's because in the current version of the game, when we do meet Xavier in the no hunt zone, where we first locate that stele, basically that stone sculpture that had a protocore hidden within it. Actually, in the newer version of the game, Xavier did conclude that it was a modified protocore, and it is known for Onekainis to be the ones that have successfully created modified protocores. And then when you think about the modified wanderers, because of their modified protocore waves, it seems that the research that Onekainis has done Ever has, to an extent, access to it. And then there's also the collar that Xavier has that has the EverCorp's insignia on it. So whatever happened, I do think that at one point, the Hunters Association, have I been saying EverCorp? I mean the Ever Group. The Ever Group and Onekainis, they probably used to all be one organization. If not, at least Ever Group was the main organization, and then the Hunters Association and Onekainis were affiliates until they went their own separate ways. But yeah, that's my main reason for thinking that the three of them used to work together as one. We're seeing that Ever has reached out to almost every single love interest. I wouldn't be surprised if Onekainis used to be an extension of the Ever group as well, but decided to break away and go solo. So now we need to think, why would Caleb orchestrate such an explosion? And why would it need the death of Grandma? Considering how we know that Grandma is or was one of the researchers / scientists that experimented on the test subject Unicorn, aka MC, it's very possible that Caleb became aware of this recently. Could this explosion originally have been a ploy to take him off the grid for some reason? But then it derails into taking out Grandma as well once he found out the truth? Oh. If Grandma Josephine experimented on MC, and if we consider the possibility that Caleb was also a test subject. Now I say this because in the beta version, it seems Caleb was really strong to the point that he could take out a giant wanderer. For him to be that strong, it's very possible that even Caleb was experimented on. So with that as a possibility, there might have been an old grudge that Caleb held that he couldn't forgive. If you think about it, and if that were the case, it might be a huge struggle for Caleb because MC is so loving towards Grandma, and that's mostly because she remembers nothing. She remembers squat. I really feel bad for MC. She's always kept in the dark, but she can't help it. To her, Grandma was her only family. So I wonder if there's some struggle there, Caleb hating Grandma because he remembers what she's done, but MC finally having a semblance of a family in her life. I feel like there could be like an angsty bit right there. And because of that, maybe he thought this explosion was the best way for Grandma to atone for her sins. I don't know. Which now leads me to the last part of this little dive into Caleb. Is Caleb confirmed to be the new love interest of Love and Deepspace? Despite everyone already set on the fact that he is, I like dancing around the idea that maybe he's not. At least not yet when we meet him again. It should be known that the devs did not specifically say we will see Caleb again as a love interest. The main reason people believe he is a love interest is from the fact that we still have his messenger profile in-game, just like the other boys. It's also because the devs mentioned that Caleb will be back when they were asked about the additional male leads in the future, in which the devs talked about anticipating Silas and then talks about Caleb. However, note that they called Silas as the next male lead and only mentioned Caleb as someone we will meet again in the future. There's a very high possibility that when we do see him, it might not even be as a male lead, but as MC's foe. And thinking about it, ooh, the angst we could be possibly getting. The potential here. Delicious. But does that mean Caleb girlies should despair? Not really. Not to mention, don't take my word as hard facts, okay? This is just me like spouting nonsense from my brain. There are plenty of otome games out there that have introduced characters in the story either as allies or as villains that turn out to be hidden routes you can tackle later on in the game. I just want to remind myself, that even if we do meet Caleb again, I will not fully expect him to be a love interest just yet. In fact, we might just see him as a, newly introduced key character to the main story, the main Lincoln story. Now, of course, this is just me being super pessimistic. I mean, if we look at MLQC, alright, Mr. Love, Queen's Choice. If I'm not wrong, now correct me if I'm wrong, okay? They only introduced the 5th LI, Shaw, a year after the game's release. So if Caleb does come next year, it does fall in line with how their sister game operated. However, there was a big issue with the Chinese fan base being pretty upset about a new love interest being introduced after a year of the game's release. So it went so far to the point that the fan base even decided to boycott him. Yes, the ridiculousness of love interest fandom rivalry has existed for a long time, and it doesn't make it any less ridiculous. Now, due to this, I have a feeling, and this is purely conjecture on my part, that if Caleb comes back, they will try to further build his character in the story first before making him as a love interest. I could also be wrong because they did make it so that we would have some connection to Caleb before this explosive departure. So fans do seem to already be fond of Caleb. Yet with the brother figure trope, now it feels like they'll have to be smart with how the story develops for people to get over the fact that MC and Caleb were raised together under one roof. I mean, there are a lot of Westerners who are not comfortable with MC calling him Gaga, even though it's basically the same principle of the Korean term of endearment, oppa. But anyway, I digress. All this, again, supports my enemies to lovers theory. But remember, this is just all me and my deluluness running rampant. Please don't take my words as hard facts. And that brings us to the end of this video. What do you guys think about Caleb? What do you think Infold has planned? Will they reveal him as a love interest right off the bat? Will he just appear as a story character first to lay out the foundations for his relationship with MC? Or do you think he's the ultimate antagonist? Let me know in the comments below. If you like more theory videos like this, do let me know and I'll try to mix up because I do have a lot to talk about in my head. But yeah, let me know what you think. And if you did enjoy this video, do like and subscribe if you feel like it. And I hope to see you guys in the next one. Until then, bye bye!